I made it all happen, brother. Hello, welcome to another episode of Verbal Journals. I believe we're on episode 31. I am currently struggling at uploading anything because my internet has been SHIT. But, hello. I'm in my new place. I've started my new job in sales. I, location-wise, got in the center of everywhere, so I'm in arm's reach of everywhere that I need to be, which is exactly what I wanted. Again, I don't know how much I've actually talked about everything. I know in the video I'm trying to upload right now, it is sort of an update of everything, being very vague sort of thing, because of the position I was in. So let me explain everything in full detail. So, for me personally, I have been doing cabinetry for 8 years. I did my apprenticeship. I'm a fully qualified tradesman. The first 6 years I worked at a company where I was literally getting paid minimum wage. I had to literally, do all my research to make sure that I was actually even getting minimum wage, because I didn't even think I was. By the way, excuse the mess. You can see that not everything is fully packed away. Shout out to my beautiful girlfriend, who's actually, I don't think I've unpacked anything. I did my desk and my bed the day I moved in, and I have really been under the pump. And in moments where I haven't been, I've been trying to, relax. Because A, I deserve it, and B, I need to rest, you know what I mean? Towards the back end of everything happening, I was so out of it. But anyways, back to the story. So yeah, the first 6 years I was working at a company, minimum wage. I later found out that he wasn't paying me super. He refused to pay me super, saying that he had everything set up. He was just lying through his teeth. I had to go through Fair Work to actually fight for my super. And essentially what they did was set up a payment plan and said it was a new expense that he had to pay, but didn't say it was for my super, so that I eventually got everything back. Which was good, and the super I do have now is up to date. But it was really dead. Like, I was sort of running the floor in the factory. I didn't do much site work, but at the same time I was shoved in a corner. We had machinery for everything. Most of the machinery was really broken and poo, because nothing was maintained, because he had a very shit attitude. Like, every single time I'd go to talk to him to ask him something or tell him something about the business, I'd go upstairs and he's literally like feet on the desk watching casino videos or like gambling videos or whatever. It would quickly try and click out of it, and I would always be in before him, and I would be in at start time, and half the time he'd leave before me or leave the same time as me. Sometimes he'd literally sit around for an extra 10-15 minutes just till I was gone, just so he could leave, so it looked like he was staying back. He didn't work weekends or anything. Like, his work ethic was absolutely atrocious. I definitely didn't get my work ethic from him, but from that point, I moved on to another company that was very different. They were working, so he ended up living on the property of his parents. They had a massive bit of land, and they had like a granny flat thing that they ended up renovating and living in out the back. But then our factory was literally just a garage that they decked out and put, machinery and turned into a factory type thing. But everything we did, like, we had the basic, panel saw, edge bander, and a hinge press. That was it. Everything else, we did everything by hand. Coincidentally, the first place I worked at, I probably shouldn't name drop, but they liquidated, so they're not in business. It was called Custom Cut Kitchens. It was not very custom cut whatsoever, even though we had a machine that could literally custom cut everything. Everything was very standard, and we did a lot of like housing commission jobs. So it was very basic. Whereas this new place had nothing about custom in their name. But we did everything, bro. Like, if a client wanted something, we did it. And my boss would always overcomplicate the shit out of stuff. where it didn't need to be, but in turn, you know, like the quality of everything came out so much better. That was a really good company, you know what I mean? But the one big downfall with it was when I had started working there, he asked me about overtime. Now, at my first job that I worked, well, technically I worked at KFC. That was my first job, but that's a story for a different time. In my first full-time job, he asked, you know, like, what am I like with overtime? And I said, look, I'm happy to do overtime every now and then, but I have other commitments outside of work. I told him that I make music and stuff. And at the previous job, I literally didn't get paid a cent for overtime, so I would never work it. Whereas, obviously, this guy was willing to pay me the overtime. At the beginning, it was good. I didn't do a lot of overtime. I feel like every now and then I'd work to like 4 o'clock type thing when I'm supposed to finish at 3. Occasionally there'd be like a 5 o'clock, say coming from site or whatever, but it wasn't that bad in the first year at the beginning. But the second we got towards Christmas, there was obviously a Christmas rush, and he asked if we could stay back to 5 o'clock every day. That was sort of the minimum requirement. Like, a lot of the time it'd be later. But I was like, oh yeah, it's just Christmas rush, whatever. When the new year came around, it really wasn't that bad again. Like, it slowed down until we got towards Christmas again, and it picked up again. But it wasn't even Christmas. I think it was like sort of July-ish. We sort of picked up. And then from that point, it never stopped. You know what I mean? And I would leave my house at 6 o'clock every morning, and I would get home on average most days at 7 o'clock. So I was out for 13 hours, but sometimes it'd be later. We did jobs where shit, you know, get home at like 9:30. It was bad, and we were very like open to the boss about that, but he just put so much stuff on his plate. He was even worse. Like, he would genuinely stay back till like midnight, sometimes early morning, and he'd rock up late every morning because he had no sleep, you know what I mean? And it was a vicious cycle of he, you know, he was very bad at like writing stuff down and communicating. And like, it was a vicious cycle of, we were still getting in at 6:30, but we would have to, a lot of the time, wait for him to come through at like 8:30 for us to know what we're even doing for the day, which in turn would have us staying later back because we had to start our day later. And it was frustrating, to say the least. And with that, everyone's mood completely changed. It was sort of the people were good, but because no one wanted to be there, you know what I mean? Like, no one was in the right headspace. Everyone was yelling at each other. No one was happy to be there, I don't think. We sort of just did what we had to do. And yeah, I don't know. It's just a really negative environment. And even over Christmas break, my partner had said, she's like, bro, you're such a different person when you have time to yourself. Like, I was still working on my own stuff and, you know, booking out my whole days. But she's like, the mood and energy change was so dramatic because it's like you're actually doing what you want to do, you know what I mean? And I'm quite a positive, optimistic person deep down, but being surrounded by that every day, all day, it sucked the soul out of me, you know what I mean? So at the beginning of this year, so at the beginning of 2026 in January, I sat a sales course called Setter School. It was supposed to be like a 3-month course. I can't remember what I paid for it, but it was a couple of grand. And yeah, it was supposed to be a 3-month course. I literally smashed it all out in under a month. And with that, I got myself a job, right? Now, I have mentioned this, in sales with a company that was based the dude was from the UK and lived in the UK, but it was all US based, which meant that I had to work US hours. So I was sort of training myself. Once I had actually got the job and gotten told I got the job, they had just started the company up. They had multiple businesses, all running in the same area. But they recruited all these people and they're like, bro, we put a lot more on our plate than we realized. So it's going to take a little bit of time for us to get set up. Give us a little bit of time. Yeah, sure, no worries. So I was training my body to actually work this role. So during the week, I would wake up, like my work day would start at 3 in the morning, right? I think because US, that was 9 o'clock. Or maybe not. I think I was just doing it to get all the hours in. I can't remember how many hours I set out to do, but I would pretty much do 2 to 3 hours in the morning before I would leave for my day job. So starting at 3 o'clock and working as close as I can to 6 o'clock before I have to get ready and leave. And then getting home at like 7, I would, work a couple of hours, I think, to like 9 o'clock sort of thing. So sort of 5 hours a day. And then go to sleep, wake up, rinse and repeat. But then on Saturday, because of the way the week works through the time difference, on a Saturday, I would wake up at like 11:30 before midnight. So I'd wake up on the Friday at 11:30 at night to start work at midnight, shifting into the Saturday and work all the way up until 8 a.m. And that was my shift for their Friday, but it would turn into my Saturday sort of thing. And I was really on top of it. So in that time, while I was training, I was sort of just practicing objection handling and going through my courses and stuff and, just trying to be as prepared as possible. And this went on for, not even joking, a month. And I kept reaching out to them saying, look, like, it's been a while, when are we starting, and I'd get no response. And so I actually had like a buddy sort of thing, and she was based in Sydney as well. She was the only other Australian within the company that was starting. Everyone else was based in other countries and stuff. And she was also annoyed at it. It wasn't her first remote sales job, but I was sort of back and forth with her, and she was training me a bit too. It was really good, really positive. But yeah, it literally took like a month, and she's like, look, they have clearly put too much on their plate. Just give it time, blah, blah, blah. As that month got closer and closer, one of my close mates offered a position working with him, doing sales pretty much, but in the music industry. And straight away, I even was very open with him, and I was like, I don't want it to be shiny object syndrome and be like, this is what I want to do, you know what I mean? Like, straight off the rip, I want to think about it. I thought about it, but in my own, space, I hadn't really talked to many people about it. And I was like, fuck it, let's do it. The second I said that and I started helping him out, this other sales company got back to me and they're like, we're ready for you to start right now. And I was like, I just had to be open about it. I was like, look, I did wait all this time. I heard nothing back. I didn't want to keep waiting around. I've had another opportunity come up. And he sort of said, look, if things change, feel free to reach back. But he removed me from all the group chats and everything. And that was that. That was the end of that. So through helping my friend out, I talked with other people around me. There was also the music manager that I'm with. She sort of talked to me and was like, look, you got to think of everything holistically. I talked to my mom, my partner, and everything as well. Everyone said the same thing. It's like, this is a big move. If you're going to be business partners with someone, you have to be able to rely on everything. So you got to have the same morals. You can't have any sort of butt-ins, and if you do, you got to be open about it. And And there had been things in the past where it's like, I don't agree with this, I don't agree with that. And they're like, what if that comes up again? And my answer was, I don't know, I guess I'll just push through it and deal with it, sort of thing. And they're killing it, by the way. This is no shame to them. I'm not going to name drop anything. They're still a close friend of mine, and I sort of said that to them in the end. I made a more educated decision, and I was like, look, we're really good friends, being business partners, I don't want anything to come up and it sort of ruin our relationship. And this is something I really want to do in the future, but yeah, he hadn't had the ball rolling with it, and there was no guaranteed, you know what I mean? Like, it was just him and I. And I was like, look, at the end of the day, I want to keep our relationship. If things don't pan out, I don't want that to ruin anything. But don't let that stop you from doing this, because, there's a lot of potential with this opportunity and what you're trying to push. Again, I'm not going to state what any of that is, sort of just for his own disclosure. But yeah, that was that. And so then I was just left in this limbo type thing, and I didn't know what to do. I guess that's just the fact of being in your early 20s. And in hindsight, I'm glad I chose that decision, because things have changed and he didn't stick with it, which means I could have, potentially screwed myself over. So I'm glad that I made that decision, and everything's respectful between us, which is good. It panned out, the way it should have panned out, you know what I mean? So through that, I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew that I wanted to change my day job. I knew that where I was, I put so much effort in. You guys know I'm a very, very hard worker. I'm disciplined when it comes to my work. I hustle hard. But I felt like that's all I was doing in a negative environment, and it was just a different world to what I wanted to build, and it was sort of taking over my life. I didn't have time to do shit. The only time I had was going to the studio, and that's because I had it booked in. I had to do that. But everything else, couldn't happen. Give me 1 second. Sorry, my rabbit's chewing the new house. That is not good. And the neighbors don't know I have him. But anyways, so through that, my music manager sat me down. Instead of having these meetings where it was like, sort of, where are you at with music? What can we do? What can we improve? Because I wasn't really doing anything. In terms, they also offered me a position. I was like, for fuck's sakes, it's too many things thrown at me at once. But again, I was like, I really want to do this. Working with you guys would be sick. But with the time that I have, I can do what you need me to do right now, but it's not sustainable, because I am working a stupid amount of hours. I literally don't have time to myself as it is. So if I work with you guys as well, that my whole life is just work, and I mean that to the T. It would literally just be work, force myself to sleep, wake up, work, force myself to sleep. It would be not healthy whatsoever. So I need help getting a new day job, and I wanted to do it in sales, because that was also a sales position, and the only experience I had was all theory. You know what I mean? I haven't actually done any sales work. I sort of did with the community that I was running, but yeah, that was all self-sourced, self-informed sort of thing. And that also, I dropped that as well, because I realistically just didn't have the time for it, and I wanted to put the time in. It was a sort of program where I had to be there for the people, I had to prepare everything, but I just didn't have the time, and I'd rock up to meetings not prepared, not fully there mentally as well, and I was like, bro, I can't do this. I can't give people a promise and not deliver on the promise, so I can't, uphold this either, which was sad. I'm still in contact with these people, everyone's still grateful for what I did provide at the time. But yeah, that's where that was. And so in this period of time, I was literally just applying my ass off for different jobs, right? And at the same time that this was happening, my lease for my old place was ending. And for a while I had said that I wanted to move to a more central location because I lived like far out west in Sydney, and it was like minimum sort of hour everywhere I went, if not longer. The closest place was my partner's, and it was half an hour away. And I was just sick of the travel. Like, even work as well at the time in my day job was without traffic half an hour, but with traffic in the afternoon, sometimes it'd take me like 50 minutes to get home. And I was like, I'm over it, you know what I mean? I'm over traveling everywhere in such long distance, and I want to be more centralized for, you know, like, just convenience sake, but also opportunity sake. And so part of me at the time, I was like, look, I want to jump straight on it, but financially, I don't know if I can do it. It's a bit crazy. I'm trying to look for a new job. The people around me also were like, so my music manager was the one that said, bro, just jump for it. But my partner, my mum, they were like, don't put too much shit on your plate. Just take one step at a time. Like, they're both big change. Don't put too much shit on your plate. Knowing me, I don't know what's wrong with me, but I love that struggle. Like, I love that challenge, you know what I mean? And I was just like, fuck it, man. I'm just going to do it, you know what I mean? I did think about it for a bit, and I was like, oh, I don't know. But then I was like, fuck it. What's the worst that can happen? So I started looking for places while I was also applying for jobs. I had an interview at a company, and I wasn't sure it was the right fit. Very corporate, very involved in terms of incentive, and like, they were big into sport and shit. And if you guys know me, I don't follow any sport. I was like, I don't know if it's going to be the right environment, but I went to the interview anyways because I was like, I just want the experience of, you know, going through these interviews. I went to it nervous as fuck, and I didn't think I was going to get it. And I just proved that, because as well, like, I had no sales knowledge. I was saying all these terms, I had no idea what they were on about. They even put us through like a mock call where we literally cold called one of their clients and just threw us in the deep end sort of thing. And I was reading off a script. I stumbled my words a million times. The dude even asked, he was like, bro, are you reading off a script? And I was like, full transparency, yes I am. And he just laughed it off, and I was like, so could I continue? So I was like, bro, there ain't no way, but it was worth the experience. And literally next day, get a call from him, another interview with him. I got the job. And that's currently where I am right now. And I'm glad I took that leap because it's gaining me so much experience. It's a humongous company. They are a billion-dollar company. I don't know if they're multi-billion dollar. There's amazing commission potential as well, literally uncapped commission. I didn't think the environment would suit me, but the people there are very, very lovely. It's so diverse. Everyone is so hungry and, you know, willing to help me. So I'm really glad I took that leap. I think I got the job first, and I had said to him, he's like, can you start on Monday? And I said, look, I think it was Monday, 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And I said, look, I'd love to start as soon as possible, but I want to give my boss the respect and give him as much time as possible because I know he's struggling right now. And B, I'm in the middle of trying to find a place and move out. So then I was on this time crunch. I had 3 weeks to find a place and move out. And I think I spent 2 weekends. So, because most open homes are on a Saturday, no other day. I spent 2 weekends. The first weekend, absolute rubbish. Nothing but rubbish I looked at. And then the second weekend, there was 2 places that I looked at. I applied for both of them. One of those places is where I am right now. Through both of them, I actually got both places, but I heard from the other place first, and I was like, look, I'm so grateful that I have this opportunity to actually, you know, have gotten this place, but I'm still really waiting on this one, and the other one was sort of a backup. And I'm so glad I waited and didn't just say, fuck it, let's do it, because I got the place, I got the job, I got everything that I wanted, and now I'm in a position where I'm back at square zero, and I'm gonna ramp my way up to, you know, the top. You know what I mean? And bro, I'm so grateful for everyone around me that supports me, and for myself. You know what I mean? For not ever giving up. Like, even in times where I sort of take a step back and do less, I'm so grateful that I do that, because I wouldn't be in the position that I am in right now. And yeah, even the team at Beats for Chefs, bro, like, they have done so much for me. Shout out Uzma for spending so many hours just applying for places and helping me look places up and training me. And for the boys for, you know, just pushing me when it comes to mindset and giving me opportunity and potential. Like, I know the hunger comes from in here, but without that outside environment, I don't think I would have gotten to where I am right now. And this is just the beginning, bro. This is just the beginning. I'm now currently, straight after this video, I'm going to edit it. I'm going to try and upload it again. My internet is shit, so I don't know when this will actually come out. It is currently the 26th of July, so you'll see the latency. The other video I'll have uploaded first, and I'll try and get back into the rhythm of doing these weekly again. But yeah, I think that's it, man. Like, I'm just so excited for what the future holds. I'm still in a position where I think, again, because I'm in my 20s, it's just such an unknown area. And I've been working at this new job for 2 weeks now. The first week was a lot of like classrooms and what they call shadowing. So me jumping and pairing a headset up with another person in that role and just seeing what they do. But last week was the first week. It was only like midweek. I think it was like Tuesday or Wednesday that I started dialing. And I ranged from like 150 to 200 calls each day. Whereas, and I'm only doing that because I'm cold calling companies. And the quota is like 120 calls. You book 2 people in a day. I haven't booked anyone in yet. And on average, the other guys, they do like probably 90 dials a day, but they book in like 2, 3, 4 meetings. And you want to book the meetings in because that is where you're going to make the money, you know what I mean? But yeah, that shows the effort that I'm putting in, and I think they already see that. They're like, I've talked to some of them, and they're like, Jesus Christ, like, how are you even punching in that many dials? And it's like, because so many people are either disconnected, don't answer, or just don't even want to hear me. So I just make a call. If it doesn't go my way, I log it in, I'm on to the next, you know what I mean? But yeah, bro, I can't state how excited I am. Again, I'm in this unknown where it's like, I don't know what the next thing is to happen. But once I've recorded this and edited it, I'm writing up a plan, bro, because I want to invest back into my music. You know, that's where this all started. I know I'm not a performer. My rabbit's chewing on my skirting boards again, but I know I'm not a performer. It's just figuring out where I want to go from there. Release-wise, I do have a plan. I don't want to say too much, but things are changing very quickly. And yeah, thank you all for watching, and thank each and every one of you that has subscribed as well. I know in the last thing I recorded, I was at 99 and at 101, so I've got another 2 subscribers. Let's push that. If you're new here and you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. It really means a lot. As I said, I'm going to try and get back in the rhythm of posting these every week, but I'm still waiting for my internet to come through so that it's better and I can, you know, post regularly. So thank you all again for watching. I love you all so much. Take care and peace.